Alright, so lesson 7 review. The recipe calls for 1/2 pound of flour for 1 batch. So how many batches can be made with each of these amounts? So if we've got 1 pound of flour, okay, so let's thin this out. We need 1/2 pound for a batch, so let's split it into 2 things. So this entire thing is 1 pound, so each of these is 1/2 pound. So that's 1 pound. So how many groups of 1/2 pound can we get? Well, there's 1/2 pound. And there's 1/2 pound. That's 1 group. And 1 group. So that's 2 batches, 2 groups. And so if I look at part B, the second part, question B, or as somebody called it, number B. Sorry. Then, again, we've got 3/4. So I'm going to break it into 3 sections of 1/4, because that's 3 times 1/4. So 1/4, 1/4, and 1/4. So that's 3/4. Well, just like we said, we need 1/2 pound. Well, 2/4 makes 1/2 pound. So that's 1 group right there. Well, in order to get a second group, I would need this other 1/4 here. But it doesn't really exist. So I have 1 of the 2 that I need. So I only have 1 out of 2, so that's half. So I can make 1 and 1/2 batches. And for part C, that's 1/4. So that's 1 box of 1/4. Well, again, we're using 1/2. So I have that imaginary thing there. Well, I can't make an entire 1/2 pound. I can't get that 1/2 pound because I would need both of these sections. So I only have 1 of the 2 I need. So 1 out of 2. So I can only make 1/2 batch. Okay, so you don't necessarily have to draw that imaginary piece there, but it does help to visualize it. Okay, for question 2, Whiskers the cat weighs 2 2/3 kilograms. Piglio weighs 4 kilograms. Never heard the name Piglio before. Although, I guess it'd make more sense for a pig than a cat, but hey, whatever. Sorry. Got a little off topic. For each question, write a multiplication and a division equation. So, gotta do both. Decide whether the answer is greater or less than 1, and then answer the question. So we gotta do several things here. Okay, so we're not just writing an answer. Okay, we got to do a few different things. So, how many times as heavy as Piglio is Whiskers? So, okay, so we're being asked Whiskers is Whiskers, so that's Whiskers divided by Piglio. So 2 2/3 divided by 4 equals question mark. So there's our division. Multiplication. 4 times question mark equals 2 2/3. Okay, so we've got that part. Now, is the answer going to be more or less than 1? Well, given that 4 is bigger than 2 2/3, I'm going to say it's less than 1. And so now I can answer the question. So 2 2/3. Well, since it's thirds, I'm going to break it into sections of 1/3. So 1/3, 1/3, and 1/3. Well, 3/3 is 1 whole. Well, I need 2 wholes. So there's my 2. Well, I still need another 2/3. And so there's my 2 2/3. So now I'm dividing this by 4. Well, to be 4 as thirds, well, 4 over 1 as thirds would be times 3 times 3 would be 12 over 3. So I need to group this as 12. Well, so let's switch color and make our imaginary boxes. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 boxes. 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've got 8 boxes of the 12 that I need. Well, so that's 8 of 12. Well, 4 goes into both of these. And so that's 2/3. So 2 2/3 divided by 4 is 2/3. And that's our answer. And now for B, how many times as heavy as Whiskers is Piglio? Well, that means it's Piglio divided by Whiskers. So all we got to do is switch the order up here. So that's 4 divided by 2 2/3 is question mark. And so then question mark times 2 2/3 is 4. Well, since the 4 is bigger than 2 2/3, then that's going to go in at least one time. So I'm going to say greater than 1. And now I'm going to make my diagram. So again, I'm going to want thirds because that's what these are. And I'm going to want 12 boxes because I need 4 holes. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And so that's 1, 2, 3 for 1 hole, 2 holes, 3 hole, 4 hole. Well, now I'm breaking it into 2 2/3. Well, 2 2/3, I multiply and then add. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, so that's 8/3, so groups of 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And so that's one group. Now I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 left over. But again, I need a group of 8. So I've got my imaginary group here. Of 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I've got 4 out of 8 that's there. And so 4/8 reduces to 1/2. And so my answer is 1 1/2. Okay, so question 3. Andre is walking home from a festival that is 1 5/8 kilometers away. He takes a quick rest after walking 1/3 of a kilometer. In this situation, which question can be represented by the equation the unknown times 1 5/8 is 1/3? Okay, and so what we have to figure out is what this means. So, how many kilometers? So let's go through and see, which ones make sense. Well, how many more kilometers does he have to walk to get to the festival? Well, if he's walking after walking 1/3 of the kilometers, and we know how far it is away, that would be a subtraction problem. So it's not B. How many kilometers is it from home to the festival and back home? Well, that's just 1 5/8 times 2, so that has nothing to do with the 1/3. So that means what fraction of the trip has Andre completed, or what fraction of the trip is left. Now, there's this thing that you haven't learned yet that is of great help. Okay, and it's called is over of. Well, and so it means whatever the is what you're dividing into. Okay, and you're dividing by the other number. So what fraction of the trip is left means that you would be dividing by what's left. And so based on this, we would rewrite this as division as 1/3 divided by the unknown equals 1 5/8. Well, since it's not the unknown that we're dividing into, this is saying we would divide the unknown by the 1/3. So, it's what fraction of the trip has Andre completed? So, A. I don't know why I crossed it out. A would be our answer. Okay. Draw a tape diagram to represent and answer the question. What fraction of 2.5 is 4/5? Okay. So tape diagram to represent it and answer it. So of 2.5 is 4/5. So that's 4/5 divided by 2.5. So 2 times 2 plus 1, that's 5/2. And we've got 4/5. So this is 4/5 divided by 5/2. Well, we want them to be the same denominator. So times these numbers by 2, and we have 8/10 times these by 5, and we have 25/10. So we need 8/10. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. Now, we need a total of 25 as a group. So these are the imaginary ones. 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25. So the orange is what we actually have. And the blue is what we need. The blue and orange together is what we need. So we have 8 out of 25. And so that's our answer. There's your diagram. Okay, and we would kind of just stick with orange. I don't know why it's not coloring. Kind of shade that in or whatever to show that we got 8 out of 25 there. Okay. And so that's lesson 7.